That's what he said with Cedric D. Sanders.
100% real, raw, and uncut. Deadass.
Hello, my name is Cedric, and along with my beautiful wife, Connie, we'll be hosting my brand new podcast, That's What I Said. I'm a retired Navy veteran that suffers from PTSD and anxiety, and we'll discuss how I cope with the mental illness through comedy and discussion. It's a podcast that will talk about everything from cryptocurrency to comedy. If we're worrying about the dollar going up and down, up and down, up and down, and it's still a dollar, guess what? The value of that means absolutely nothing. Cryptocurrency in itself is the future of money. From spirituality to cannabis. To have cannabis on the Schedule 1 list is bullshit. I'm sorry, it is. It makes absolutely no sense. If it's a seed that can be planted and it has healing properties in it, why the hell is it in Schedule 1? Last time I checked, cocaine don't have healing property in it. From interracial relationships, I don't have a problem with people talking about interracial relationships. People try to talk bad about my interracial relationship just to think that they can get under my skin. I mean, really, it don't bother me. I mean, let's not make, call a spade a spade. But if you have a problem with someone that's in love, it shouldn't matter the race of the person. It's a mental illness in our community. The problem is people want to put labels on it. Everybody wants to put color on everything. And as soon as you put color on it, it gets treated differently. The money gets treated funny. Because if it's dealing with Asians, guess what? It's going to take a longer process unless those leaders step up and get into the president's face or U.S. leaders' face and say, this is a problem in our community. Not leaving one topic unturned. If you want to hear real, authentic conversation, interviews, and comedy, please take time to listen to That's What I Said, because I said what I said.
Giving you 100% authentic, real, raw, unapologetic truth with no filter. Listen to That's What I Said. Available on your favorite podcast platform.
That's what he said with Cedric D. Sanders.
100% real, raw, and uncut. Deadass.
Welcome to another episode of That's What I Said with Cedric Sanders.
Giving you 100% authentic, real, raw, unapologetic truth with no filters. This broadcast starts now.
Let me turn that up. All right, y'all know what it is. Y'all know what time it is. It's about that time for That's What I Said podcast, live and direct here on Facebook, YouTube. And of course, if you're listening to it live, it's on Spreaker.com. And if you're catching the replay, make sure you tap in and tune in to the podcast that you can absolutely listen to even after the live is off.
Absolutely.
Go into your favorite podcast apps and search That's What I Said and give us a listen. Even if you heard it already, give it a listen anyway. And check out the audio and listen to some commercials, because really that kind of helps us out on the podcast side. So, peace and love. What's good, everybody? What's good? Damn, tonight's topic's a juicy one. Imperfectly Perfect. Man, what did you think when you first, literally...
When I saw what the topic was for tonight?
Yeah.
I was like, damn, imperfectly perfect. Okay, well, this topic can go in multiple directions.
You're right.
Because for me, the true thing that came up out of the imperfectly perfect was having flaws or having indiscretions, things that you're not certain that you want to share with others.
Yeah.
All your imperfections, all the down to the finite detail.
Right.
A lot of times people don't want to talk about those.
That's
but then
true.
they're found out about it.
Yeah, I think that's the most damaging thing is that you have something, and it's not necessarily just secret. It's just something that you really don't tell everybody, and then of course, if it gets out into the open, it's more of a detriment to your character or your privacy more so than anything else.
Yeah, it damages you as the individual, knowing now others know about this imperfection or this flaw that you have within you, and now you're automatically like on the attack, feeling judged by everyone.
Yeah,
and you're just like, and it stresses you out, and it could cause other things to happen. You know, triggers. You know, if it's something, you know, related to PTSD or a horrible trauma, you know, I mean, it could be a multitude of things, but yeah, you definitely feel attacked.
Yeah. It's I can honestly say that, you know, when I picked this topic, it's actually me diving deeper into what I was originally going to name, being transparent, what I was going to originally name it. And the only person that actually heard the name and said, and I told this, so I was like, I just need to do this as a podcast, was my brother Sensei. And I had talked to him.
Funny.
Yeah.
Him
and
our
he's
sister
in the live.
building.
Peace and love to everybody.
What's good, sis?
What's good, sis? And absolutely, what is good? And you're absolutely right. The title tonight is Imperfectly Perfect, and Lisa, she said in the comments, perfect is subjective in my opinion. See, I'm about to break this down, and people are about to like really kind of just get their feelings hurt. But I just think, like, when I renamed it, the original title was I'm not perfect. I've been through some shit.
Right.
Now, this was something I had did a Facebook Live on like 4 years ago.
Damn. Been that long?
Yeah. We was in Washington State, and you was going in and out of the sliding glass door making your drink. And we were sitting at the fire pit, and it was before we had the canopy. But anyway, y'all.
Wow. See, and I don't even remember all that.
Yeah. So
my memory is horrible.
And I absolutely agree with what she said, because it is subjective. I mean, in its truth of how you see things, it is completely subjective. And the reason why I think it would be, I mean, just my opinion. I mean, that's between, you know, between me and who I believe in, right? I think the idea of being perfect is always being judged. It's always something that people can question when whatever, it's their idea of perfect. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not so much like, I wouldn't say competition based, but it's more so like, see, okay. The perception people have with imperfection and perfection is both subjective. Absolutely. And this is the reason why I absolutely agree with what Lisa put in the comments. My thing is that if I think something's imperfect, somebody else may think that it's not, and they can accept it, or it's, you know, just, and it's all intents and purposes unique.
Right. And everything has an imperfection.
Period.
Everything. down to the rock in the ground, the tree that's growing out of the ground. I mean, everything has an imperfection.
I'm gonna be honest. I've spoken on imperfection before, but not just in the imperfection of being perfect, because everything is subjective. Just like you said, it's subjective. Period. And the thing is that imperfection and perfection is often a matter of perspective. And exactly.
Lisa, you killing it tonight, girl.
I'm not going to even say what I'm going to say. I'm going to read the comments because I do this interactive.
I was just about to say, I'm going to hit this comment right quick.
She said, who said perfect was perfect? Who set the bar? And what's perfect? And what's perfect to you may not be perfect to me. Subjective, period. Exactly. That's exactly what subjective means. She broke it down for those that didn't understand what subjective means, because we know people like to use big words but don't know how to use them right in a sentence. But when it comes to having a big conversation, somebody will say something and not even know the definition of it, and everybody's looking at them like, why would you use that word? Real talk, that's subjective.
And their response, I don't know, it sounded good.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, sounded good. It's just funny because the reality is that no matter what we do in our life, especially in this realm of social media, you're always going to be judged and looked at based off of what somebody else thinks. Doesn't matter if what they believe in or what they have in their mind agrees with you, because they're not even asking you. It's almost disrespectful. They're judging you or basing their idea of what perfect and imperfect is based off of what they experience, what they what the expectations they may have within the society that they believe in or live in. Mm-hmm. Societal expectations is the correct way of saying that. I just had to break it down briefly. Excuse me, I had a sip of water. But it's like no matter what you do and how you do it, you're always in competition with someone else subjectively. It's like no matter how you look at it, that's life. Unfortunately, no matter what the circumstances of how we want to break stuff down and look at it and just be like, that's kind of messed up, it shouldn't be that. I absolutely agree, but I absolutely also know we are also judged off of what the person may feel is perfect. Exactly. It's a constant competition. It doesn't matter how much of a great employee you are, or a great entrepreneur, or a great Christian, or, a great spiritual teacher, a great spiritualist, or just a great individual human. That shit don't matter.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, it's always going to be in the eyes of someone judging you. Even if they say they don't judge you in some form or fashion, these people are judging you.
Man.
Let me sip my water.
I couldn't let that one get out. I was like, hold up. Yes, the hell they do.
Let me sip my water.
Because you are judged by any and everybody.
Yeah.
Period. All the time, whether you know it or not.
See, exactly. You can't really say perfect is judged. And it's funny you said that, because I was just thinking, people's idea of what perfect is exactly the part of that sentence. Idea. Mm-hmm. It's not proven fact. It's only proven fact by that individual's experience. I haven't experienced the same things that Connie has experienced, and she hasn't experienced the same thing with me. But see, the conversation that kind of led me into this direction, because a while ago I was talking about how compatibility isn't always the thing to focus on, because everybody on this planet is not compatible. We're incompatible.
Right.
So how the fuck is somebody perfect in somebody else's eyes? it's all subjective. I don't give a shit what it is. But at the end of the day, you're always in competition with someone else's idea of perfection. When it comes to work, when it comes to making money, when it comes to your needs, it's a competition. I'm going to take you down this rabbit hole. Goddamn, I got to play the music. Ain't that a bitch? Every time I say I'm going to go down the rabbit hole, I have to be honest and play the rabbit hole music. I got to add words to this shit now. And here we go. Cedric and Connie down this fucking rabbit hole again. We judge people so we can feel better about ourselves or exactly our shit. Basically, we're projecting. And
Boy.
I have a new word for projecting. Fishing. Literally, you're projecting, but really, are you fishing? So this is the whole rabbit hole, right? We've been put on this planet with the idea of this is what perfect attendance is. By defining it, perfect attendance. But really, is it perfect attendance? We went to school to go to school every day. And what happens if a child doesn't go to school?
Marked absent.
You get marked absent.
Or tardy.
Or, well, yeah, if you came in late, it's tardy, right? Mm-hmm. So, remember I said all these things, right? Absent, tardy, and perfect attendance.
Mm-hmm.
This shit's about to get ugly. I mean, it's about to get. It's.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
All right. I didn't do this, y'all. It just happened. So,
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
So,
Oh, boy.
we was told when we go into this institution of learning, because that's what it is, institution. I'm not going to write that word down because we'd be in this rabbit hole for 3 hours. We were put into this institution of learning to strive for perfect attendance. If we weren't at school for a specific time or the day that we were supposed to be there, we would have to have a doctor's note or a note from our parents to excuse the absence.
Correct.
If the absence is excused, then it's no bad mark on your attendance record.
Correct.
You have an excuse to be out of school for that day. It's going to get real ugly, sis. If we were late or tardy, maybe because, it was traffic or you had a doctor's appointment or the bus was late, you was fighting in the cafeteria, whatever the case may be, they march you as tardy.
He said fighting in the cafeteria.
I mean, it could be in the bathroom making beats. Close the door. What you rap?
I am done.
Listen, you should rap. I'm sitting there coughing, trying to imitate a beatboxer, and I ain't done that shit in years.
This guy.
My whole lung almost came out my ass. Anyway.
Continue.
So, you had all these things that you had to have documentation to excuse. I'm going somewhere with this. I need y'all to follow me down this rabbit hole. This was all in the strive for perfect attendance. You have two ways to still correct any infractions to ensure you have perfect attendance. Let's talk about life. What happens if you late for work?
You late for work.
You think they marking that?
No.
If you late for work?
I mean, it depends.
On what job you in, right?
Exactly.
If you've been somewhere for a long period of time and you hold some position of authority, you're going to have some leeway.
Right. I mean,
That's just certain jobs, okay?
You technically have a 5 to 15 minute slide.
Okay, you work for the government, so you can't necessarily have this conversation because you don't know. Out here in the workforce, in them streets, if you late and you don't call your boss and let them know you're going to be late for whatever reason it is, oh, you're going to have to answer some questions. They're going to take a note of that you late or whatever the case may be, right?
Right.
Say you do that 4 more times. Hell, let's be real. 3.
You about to get written up.
No, you about to get fired. You can't come to work on time? We can't depend on you, bro. You out of here. You talking about a write-up? They only do that shit like at Costco's and shit. You're getting a write-up, sir. I told you, there's no cussing in the smoke pit. You're getting a write-up. Hell, even if you get 3 of those, guess what? Your ass is fired. Done. Guess what happens in life? Life. When we out here self-lifing, being imperfectly perfect, people are keeping attendance to the shit you do and don't do. What lines up with them and don't line up with them. You can go around all day and have all the confidence in the world, and it's always going to be 2 or 3 people, maybe 5, 10. Who gives a fuck? It's going to be people that hate.
Yeah, they're going to shoot that shit.
They're going to shoot that shit down and be like, you ain't perfect. I know shit about you.
You ain't shit.
You ain't shit.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to put on this shirt of, unfuckwitability and be the one thing that some people don't understand why you had to do this to them. Sometimes you have to be an asshole. Guess what? I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Sometimes talking nice to people is not going to catch their receptive, that receptive part of their brain so they can understand you need to not worry about what the hell I got going on. How you see me does not matter to me. Are you paying my mortgage? Do you put food in my house? And the answer is, oh, I can. I don't give a shit what you can do. I can jump really high and kick you in the face. What is that proving? Nothing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, people don't understand this. You were taught the secret code of just allowing people to have their own ideas of how they feel about you, but you have to have the confidence so that you can understand and embrace all your imperfections. Because, let me say this. Understanding and embracing your imperfections allows you to cultivate self-compassion. You can appreciate yourself so much better by just embracing your imperfections that you have, that you wish that you could do better. And that's you. That's not a comparison to anybody else. That is you. It's not about, I wish I could drive better. Okay, who said that you can't drive? No, this is just my opinion. And what puts you into that idea of that's your opinion? I speed too much. I'm reckless. I get emotional when I drive. I wish I was a better driver. Okay, so what do you need to do so that you can be a better driver? I need to have more patience. I need to take a defensive driver course so I'm aware of certain things around me so I can be a lot more patient. See, you have to be transparent with yourself. That's part of being imperfectly perfect. Period. It's not about putting yourself in a comparison guideline of somebody else and how they do things. I mean, yeah, granted, some people may actually do things that you like what they do, and you want to kind of make it yours by creating a way so that you can self-master self and get into a position to where you are accepting the things that are imperfect in your life. I don't care how many people come in my life. I always attract real ass people. Now, let me say this disclaimer.
911, what is your emergency? I hear shots! Okay, ma'am, calm down. What kind of shots?
I attract assholes and I attract narcissistic people. And to conglomerate the badness, I just call them ain't shit ass people. I attract that energy because I know why I attract that energy. I know. I attract that energy because I am that asshole that's going to tell them about themselves. Because nobody else will. Or if somebody else has, they didn't tell them the way I told them.
They not ready for that shit.
I'm not being, hey.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
I'm just saying.
You're not ready for that shit. I'm just saying.
I'm not just boasting my head up or whatever.
Please, whatever you do. If you like your life and what you do and how you do it, do not ever ask for Cedric D. Sanders' honest to God opinion because you're not ready for it. Because he's going to hurt your feelings.
Don't say that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm not going to hurt your feelings. However, I am going to be honest. Brutally honest. Because I had to be brutally honest with myself. So how can I not be brutally honest with people when they ask me, what do I think about this?
You're going to cry in a car.
I mean, if they cry in the car, that's on them. I mean, sometimes you got to wear period colored panties. I don't give a fuck. I mean, that's not my problem. But I'm not talking about the women that's got to wear the period color panties. Don't get it twisted.
Appreciate that comment, Lisa. Appreciate you, Tanya, for tapping in. Tanya said, I've been an ain't shit ass person before.
Hey, I have too. I think
we've all fallen in
we've
that category.
In some form.
Right. At one point in time or...
I can't just talk shit about ain't shit ass people because
every day.
I ain't never been an ain't shit ass person. Let's be real. I can talk about that shit and people think it's funny, but the reality is I end up turning the shit that I used to do to people into comedy because I've healed myself from the said shit. Exactly, Lisa. It's like, how can we attract or be around people that's not like me? I attract more positive people in my life than I do the negative. And the negative ones that come in my life, they're like, trying to find a tick on a dog. You're going to find the irritation and pull that shit out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I've learned how to better take care of those situations. And this, I'm going to be honest with you. I've dealt with more of those situations since I've retired out of the Navy than I dealt with in the Navy. That's a sad kind of reality.
I was just going to say, because shit, your ass was in for 20 and you didn't deal with that?
I dealt with it, but not to this magnitude. Like, I have almost one every month, if not two. And this is not something to brag about, but it's something about understanding Imperfectly Perfect that brings us down to this rabbit hole that we're in right now. Because the reality is that these people have always put you in some type of idea way of saying we're in competition with each other. And it's not your fault. It's just how people are peopling. We get to this situation where, I put it to you like this. When I was growing up, I liked certain TV shows. I like cartoons and certain particular TV shows. I loved Thundercats.
Knight Rider.
You already know. They had another cartoon that was called Brave Star, and a lot of people were like, Brave Star? I'm like, yeah, look it up. I think it only had one season. But yeah, I love Thundercats and I love Brave Star. And then, you know, your typical 70s sitcoms, you know, not Eight is Enough, but Eight is Enough was one that I watched. But Cosby Show, you had Different Strokes, Silver Spoons, you know what lane I'm going in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hold up. I knew something was up. I'm glad you said that. Hold on, sis. Let me do this real quick. I ain't lost my thought, y'all. So I got into certain things that I liked that I automatically thought were perfect. My favorite TV show of all time is Knight Rider. A lot of people don't know that shit. A lot of people don't know that I'm buying a car that is not going to be the same as Knight Rider, but I'm going to make that motherfucker be like Knight Rider. Believe that shit. Believe that. And that was my idea when it came to perfect. I love stand-up comedy. I mean, there's this Bernie Mac, one of my favorites. I mean, Kings of Comedy, every one of them, Kings of Comedy. Even people that don't like D.L. Hughley, you can eat my big toe.
He's actually funny as hell.
Yeah.
We got to see him.
Yeah, but one of my other favorites is Gary Owen. Another favorite is Shane. I have so many. Delay. It's too many for me to give those accolades. But right. When they do comedy, to me, it's perfect. It's just the right
amount of laughter that you need at that moment.
I'm mad about it. You said Mercedes has ChatGPT inside of its betas. See, that's gonna be see. Anyway, but get me on a tangent. Damn that. Now I'm gonna do some research, but it made me see where my creativity is and how I see things, and I've always kind of had that nerdy kind of personality when it came to that. And that's why I was into computers and stuff like that. And then like my ringtone for one point in time was Knight Rider. And I had I had certain things on my computer that would talk like Kit. And when I open applications, that type of shit. But anyway, I said all that to say this. Some of those things people would say is an imperfection of mine. Just because of my personality and everything else. But this is what makes me perfect. I'm a nerd and I embrace that shit. I was a nerd in school.
Lord, the nerd comes out when the weather starts acting a fool. Anyway. I'm telling y'all.
Yes, that's my other quirk.
That's right.
I should have been a meteorologist because I pretty much know everything about it. The derecho that happened today, I was actually watching that shit develop until I had to go pick my wife up from work. And it went through Illinois and everything. It went like
500 miles.
Yeah, like 500 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Today is the anniversary of the derecho that hit Virginia that went well over 1,000 miles.
Yeah, went through 10 states.
Went through 10 states.
And D.C.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Which is wild.
So,
anywho,
I said that to say this. You have to embrace the things that you see as imperfections, not insecurities. Don't get that shit twisted, okay? Your imperfections, what you see as an imperfection, not something that has been driven to you by someone else's beliefs or somebody else's ideas that you see as imperfections. What do you see as imperfections? Because this is the idea of self-healing. When you can completely accept yourself for who you are and what you are and love on you and everything else, that means you embrace and love on all your imperfections and you're honest about those imperfections. Because a lot of the shit I just shared on this podcast about me, nobody knew. Nobody knows I got a big ass telescope in my house and I'm a nerd when it comes to astronomy. When anything that's going on with astronomy, oh, you best believe I'm with my telescope and I'm on my side porch looking for this shit. Period. I have no qualms about telling people that. It's who I am.
Yep. And I've loved astrology since I was a kid.
Right. Some people like astrology. Some people know astrology. Some people are astrology. Oh shit! Do I need to play that sound bite? Do I need to play that?
Bang, bang.
But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I said all that to say this. Sometimes your imperfections, not even just how you see your imperfections, but how you feel certain imperfections that you have could make people believe or be swayed or feel some type of way. And not necessarily in a judging way. It's just because of how you know your friends and how you know certain people. It's just certain things you're just not going to introduce to certain people because you know how they're going to take that shit. They're going to be like, you crazy as fuck. Mm-hmm. So it's knowing and knowing you. You have to know you. I mean, you just have to. It's not about comparison. It's about anything else. It's all about knowing you. And like I said before, understanding and embracing, your imperfections allow you to cultivate your self compassion within yourself. Whole reason why I said self compassion. So, I think throughout this particular episode 96, I got an announcement. So throughout this episode, let me wrap this up. This episode 96, it's brought the reality of the realization of a lot of things that need to happen, not just with people, but with self. And you have to understand the strategies that you would particularly take so that you can navigate your life imperfections while still being able to just be the person you need to be. Because I think for me, it was not just so much just being who I need to be. It's being who I'm comfortable being because I'm comfortable with me. I'm comfortable with who I am and where I need to be. So I'm going to be comfortable in how I can present myself to people and know when I can turn it on and turn it off. Because sometimes you don't have to be the whole you when you know how to present yourself to people. Some people just can't take me. I'm loud. I'm opinionated. I speak the truth on how I feel based on experience. And then being in the military for 20 years, it's just certain things you adapt to get to know other people and how to lead people. There's just certain things that you are aware of because you used to do that shit. Or you had sailors that was, in your command that you used to work with and you was friends with that did the shit. So I think the reality is that, you have to lead by example and learn from example as well. And I hope that this episode in particular got people to understand the concept of self and be able to embrace and honor their imperfections, no matter what they are. But because this episode is 96, that means I have 4 more episodes before I hit 100. 4. That's in 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
That's in 2 weeks. That's literally in 2 weeks.
Right.
So on the 13th of July will be my 100th episode. What's the plan? A celebration. We will be celebrating. I will host a podcast that will probably be almost short of 2 hours. I will have special guests. I will have a lot of giveaways. I'm working on them now, and they're coming through, so I can't say a lot. But I will have giveaways. Now, it is a possibility that I will move my 100th episode and celebrate it on July 20th. And the reason why July 20th is because July 20th is the anniversary of when I went into the Navy. Now, that would mean that I would have to do 2 podcasts. I would literally have to do 2 podcasts or not do 2 podcasts and come back July 20th. I haven't made the decision. However, I will make that decision when I do the podcast on the 11th. So everybody is probably like, when they listen to this, they're going to probably be like, okay, so what can we do to help you do the podcast on whatever date? I was going to propose a vote, but I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is that if you personally send me a DM and tell me why you think I should do the podcast on whatever date, should I do it on July 13th, the actual date of when the episode 100 is going to be, or should I do it July 20th, which is that following week, because it's the first day, it's the anniversary of my first day in the military. And when I went in the Navy, July 20th, 1992. So, let me know. Send me a DM on my personal Facebook page, Cedric D. Sanders. You can type in "That's What I Said," and you'll be able to get in contact with myself via that link. If you can't get a hold of me via that link, go to the That's What I Said fan page or the business page and send me a message through there. I need your responses no later than the podcast that I will be doing July 6th, which is Thursday. The July 11th podcast, I will announce what day I'll be doing my 100th episode. Responses or no responses, just so y'all know. Responses or no responses. So, what does that mean for you? If I pick your date that you said you think I should do my 100th episode, I will send you free merch. 2 things, maybe 3. Maybe 3. Okay? So please let me know if I should do my 100th episode on the 100th episode date, July 11th, or should I do the 100th episode on July 20th, which is the anniversary of my first day in the Navy. Send me a DM, and this is also going to be if people listen to my podcast or not, or if people are looking at the YouTube as well as the Facebook all the way to the end. Because if I pick the day, then okay, but no free shit. But if I pick the day that you suggested and I respond to you and you keep it for the record and you listen into the podcast and I announce the date and now you come back to my DM and say, I won, I owe you some free shit. So I'm doing this because I'm I'm turning that podcast into a celebration. And the reason being is because it was something I created 4 years ago when I needed to have a platform, to speak my brain, speak my feelings about how I was feeling at the height of me getting a diagnosis or understanding I had a diagnosis of PTSD and anxiety, and just never really being able to deal with it until that point. And when I created the podcast was when I was actually going through therapy and, listening to my therapist and everything and understanding what, why, when, where, and how. So the 100th episode is definitely a celebration, and it's definitely something that is, I think, emotional for me, because I never thought going through PTSD and anxiety and dealing with the things I was dealing with that I'll be able to host a podcast and even just be in front of people. And in reality, I'm not in front of people. I'm able to speak my voice in the comfort of my own home and speak how I feel about things in a kind of a healing process. Do I still deal with my mental illness every day? Every damn day.
Yep, because it never goes away.
It's not something that just goes away. So I appreciate y'all on this journey. I hope that this message about, or I should say this podcast about imperfectly perfect was a ray of sunshine and a motivation to self, and being able to understand that you don't have to set a goal or put pressure on yourself to be perfect. Being perfect is not for you to try to achieve. Be imperfectly perfect. Appreciate who you are. You got anything you got for the people before we get up out of here?
Man, the only thing I can say is I posted 2 quotes on the fan page on Facebook, and take a look at them, read through them, see what resonates with you and what doesn't, and be your own imperfectly perfect person. You are your own uniqueness. Be that. Peace and love.
So, another announcement, starting in July, I will start posting a morning motivational, like just morning motivation from my standpoint, my point of view. I will do it. I'll do one better. I'll do on Monday and then try to have an engaging conversation throughout the week. If it doesn't work because, low participation or whatever, then I'll move it to my personal page and then gradually move it back over to That's What I Said. And I'll probably just start out on my personal page. Who knows? Eventually what I want to do is begin to discuss the post live on the podcast. Of course, unless it's something that people don't want me to discuss because it's personal, whatever the case may be, then I won't put your business out there. But I want to try to keep it as motivational as possible, but as interactive as possible as well. So be looking out for that in July. I'm going to try to do it the first week of July. Besides all that, I hope y'all enjoyed the podcast. It was definitely a joy to come into y'all earways. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube and the Facebook channel. Make sure, I should say Facebook, not channel, YouTube channel, Facebook. Make sure that you subscribe to my Spreaker.com page. That's on Spreaker.com. Search for That's What I Said, and you'll be able to go in there and listen to every live that I do when I do live podcasts. And you get a notification on Facebook, but the notification goes to the fan page on Facebook. So whenever you get notification on the fan page on Facebook that I'm live, then you come over to my personal page to listen to the podcast. If it's if it's a podcast that you missed and you want to catch more on it later, go to wherever you listen to podcasts and download the That's What I Said podcast and listen to it. If you caught it live, download it and listen to it again. Share it with people. Let's build this community up so we can actually travel and start entertaining people and holding space and, you know, just doing what we do for people that we want to see do better and heal and end generational curses, do the things that they need to do financially and be able to motivate not only themselves, but their family. With that being said, y'all, I said what I said. I'm out. Peace.
That's what he said with Cedric D. Sanders.